Warning, the thoughts and opinions expressed in this video do not reflect that of That's Good Sports LLC Corporation. Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. The Dallas Cowboys have officially been named my NFC enemy for the 2019 NFL season by you, Perna. With over 12,000 votes cast on my community tab, you lovely football haters overwhelmingly picked the Dallas Cowboys with 60% of the votes to be the NFC's version of the Patriots here at That's Good Sports. Now that Madden is trolling the Patriots by putting in the high-five snub of Tom Brady in the game, I desperately need someone new to rip on. Now, Will Keys and I were kind of hoping you would pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as we thought it would be hilarious to hate them for no real reason at all. But Cowboys it is. And to prove I am a man of my word, today I will evaluate the Cowboys offseason and defecate on every single move they made outside of promoting Kellen Moore to offensive coordinator to prove they are far worse in 2019 than maybe ever before in human history. And I say that as someone who genuinely likes Dak Prescott and is very high on that young Cowboys defense. But fuck them, right? That's good sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're new here, I do football videos all the time, gearing up for this season. And if you're old here, notification button, push it or mouse click it so you know when I make videos. Also, I have Big Dick Patreon shoutouts for Flying Whales 95, Crunt Jaman, and I hope you like Jaman too. My Left Nut, Craig Flanick, upping to $5, and Nick Urbasawetsky. Thank you for your Patreon donations. You can support this channel, patreon.com/thatsgoodsports. The Cowboys haven't won shit since 1995. That was the same year that Jabril Peppers, Jalen Smith, and Kendall Jenner were born, which means the last time Dallas was dominant enough to get to the Super Bowl, Caitlyn Jenner was still a man and Jalen Smith was breastfeeding. Fast forward to 2018 and now Jalen Smith gets his football powers from secretly breastfeeding from Caitlyn Jenner, and Jason Witten is ruining Monday Night Football just so the Cowboys can get their ass kicked by the Rams in the playoffs. Sure, Dallas won a playoff game against the Seahawks, but if you think that's impressive, just look at Kian Fahey's QB rankings because Russell Wilson isn't even in the top 10. And congrats on winning the NFC East after Carson Wentz got hurt, Alex Smith's leg snapped like Ezekiel Elliott after 3 beers, and Eli Manning tragically stayed healthy. That's the 2018 season recap for the Cowboys. On to their key losses. Anyone who is halfway good at football left this shit tire fire of an organization, most of them resorting to suicide to escape bulletproof contracts, pun intended, or succumb to 24-hour self-medication just to try and forget they ever played for Dallas. I mean, David Irving retired from the Cowboys while smoking weed on Instagram.
Basically, guys, I quit. It's not about smoking weed.
Which is the same way I plan on retiring from YouTube, but with bath salts instead of weed. And Cole Beasley, the team's best rapper, moved to Buffalo, the fucking Yankee-ridden backdoor of New York, just to get away from Jerry Jones, Melty Bugface, and Troy Aikman constantly hanging around because he has nothing better to do. Linebacker Damien Wilson left. You may think Jalen Smith, Leighton, Vander, Esch, and Sean Lee are all great, maybe the best linebackers in the NFL, but Damien Wilson was the heart and soul of those guys. He inspired them daily with like really inspiring quotes from his book of inspiring quotes his grandma gave him. She was his inspiration, by the way. Example of one of his inspiring quotes. I, myself, have never been able to find out precisely what feminism is. I only know that people call me a feminist whenever I express sentiments that differentiate me from a doormat or a prostitute. Damien Wilson quoting Dame Rebecca West. Want another inspiring quote Damien Wilson used in the locker room? Some women choose to follow men, and some women choose to follow their dreams. If you're wondering which way to go, remember that your career will never wake up and tell you that it doesn't love you anymore. Lady Gaga. That's right, Damien Wilson's grandma was woke as fuck, and so is Damien. Why do you think the Chiefs wanted him in their locker room so bad? Can you imagine what Zeke's gonna do without Damien Wilson around? Do you know what happens when you lose your heart and soul? You fucking die, or turn into Kevin Spacey from Seven. Or, well, just Kevin Spacey in real life, I guess. Cowboys key additions. Defender Robert Quinn is the perfect addition to the 2012 Pro Bowl roster, and a perfect addition to the 2019 Cowboys because Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett have no idea what year it is. One of the best safeties in the game, and Earl Thomas wanted to play for the Cowboys. Everybody knew he wanted to play for the Cowboys, but for the first time in his life, Jerry Jones decided to be cheap, and now Earl Thomas plays for the Ravens. If Randall Cobb sucked with Aaron Rodgers, what does he think is gonna happen when he starts playing with Dak Prescott? That's like tripping and falling on the treadmill set at 5 and then getting back up and setting it to 15. Is Jason Witten really a new addition? Or is he just a guy who left prison, couldn't adjust to society, and said fuck it, and held up a liquor store so he could go back in and see his old degenerate friends? Jason Witten is somehow older than Jerry Jones and slower than the shadows that creep across the field when they play a morning game. The Cowboys draft. They get a draft grade of fuck off. Might as well have just taken a dump on the draft card and walked it up to the podium because that's what most of their picks felt like. Plus, it would have been pretty funny to see Roger Goodell accidentally stick his hand in a pile of shit. What were the Cowboys' needs? Everything? Their whole fucking team sucks. Too bad you can't draft a time machine to go back and kill all of the Cowboys in the American West, so there's no one to name this shitty team after. Basically the opposite of what I hope for the Redskins. I just got an idea, by the way, for a Red Dead Redemption and Madden crossover. Think about it. They didn't even have a first-round draft pick because their dumbasses traded for Amari Cooper. You're the only team that lost a trade with John Gruden. Congratulations. Their first pick in the second round was a defensive tackle named Tristan. I give Tristan 2 years before his entire career is destroyed by a Kardashian. After that, they took Connor McGovern. You fucking idiots, he's already on a team. Get your own guard. Then it was running back Tony Pollard out of Memphis. We all know what happened the last time Jerry Jones wanted a player out of Memphis, but this time he didn't have John Elway to save his ass. And this is where their draft gets creepy. In the 5th round, they took Michael Jackson and Joe Jackson. What kind of sick, twisted joke is this? Michael Jackson is arguably the only person in history with more plastic surgery than Jerry Jones. So they drafted a guy named after a singer who at best liked having sleepovers with little boys, and then drafted a guy named after the dad who made him that way. Got it. Talk about not looking at the man in the mirror, because that was bad. Cowboys season will be opposite of a thriller. Beat it is what Cowboys fans are going to say about this team when they see this draft class on the field. Finally, the Cowboys took Donovan Wilson out of Texas A&M because they wanted to save money on plane tickets, and then Mike Weber out of Ohio State because they forgot how many running backs they already have on the roster. With the last pick, they took a guy named Jalen Jelks out of Oregon. If you know what jelking is, then you would realize that that pick makes perfect sense for the Cowboys. And here's a special segment I'm doing just for Dallas. Drugs. It's a story as old as time. When you play for the Dallas Cowboys, the only thing you love more than losing football games is doing drugs. Randy Gregory was suspended for the 4th time in February for violating the league's substance abuse policy. That's just one more suspension than David Irving. Gregory is trying to be reinstated, but that's no guarantee, just like the Cowboys covering the spread or making their fans proud. Between him, David Irving, and the speed Jason Garrett is is on just so he can clap his way through a fucking football game, I'm surprised Jerry World isn't officially called Cocaine Castle, which is protected by a morphine moat, or Weed Wonderland, or the Marijuana Mansion, or the Cannabis Cathedral, or the Heroin Hideaway, or simply Crack House. 2019 breakout player for the Cowboys. Breaking out with what? SARS? Leprosy? The bubonic plague? Breaking out of prison? Well, in all seriousness, it's probably going to be Michael Gallup or Chidobe Awuzie because they both played their college football in Colorado. Biggest weakness for the Cowboys? Well, I could just read off their entire depth chart, but that's more time than I want to spend talking about the Cowboys. Let's be honest though, because their biggest weakness is that they're going to pay Dak Prescott $30 million, which means they might have to let Ezekiel Elliott push his way into free agency like a concert just ended. The only weakness on the team that I see as a strength is offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. Is there a better OC in the NFL? I don't think so. He's a former quarterback calling plays for the quarterback he used to back up. He's 5 fucking years younger than Sean McVay, and his greatest strength, he wasn't the Cowboys offensive coordinator last year. But don't take my word for it. Kevin Frazier testifies to the new wrinkles in the Cowboys offense, which is the first time the word testifies has been used to describe the Cowboys outside of a court case. Dak Prescott's best season was his rookie year, and that is 100% because Moore was his backup. The best relationship you can have as a quarterback with an offensive coordinator is if your OC is a guy you have showered with. It's exactly why John Elway and Gary Kubiak had so much success in the late 90s. As a man, you simply trust another man even more after he's peed on your foot in the shower. It's also really easy to get along with the guy you know you're a lot better at football than. So, my 2019 prediction for the Dallas Cowboys. I'd say 2-14, but I don't want to copy my new best friend, Adam Rank from the NFL Network. So instead, I will say their win total will be the same as the number of Ewoks that would survive if left in a room alone with Darth Vader while he's on his period, but with more bloodshed during the Cowboys' 2019 season. Can I be any more clear than that? I hope I lived up to your hateful expectations of my new sworn enemy, the Dallas Cowboys, for the 2019 season. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. You gotta subscribe right now. Football season is basically kind of sort of here, but when it's here, you're gonna wanna be checking out videos every week as Will Keys and I crank this shit out. Will Keys on Twitter at WillKeys6, follow him. I'm on Twitter, Instagram at Brandon Perna if you do want to do that shit.